Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
The excitement and anticipation of a new season is a feeling that is seemingly palpable in the air. Add into that mix the legendary venue that is Spa-Francorchamps, and you have a combination that is nothing short of electric. Welcome everyone to round one of the Radical Racing Challenge. My name is DJ Clark, joined here in the commentary booth by Sam Fitzpatrick. And Sam, this is the second season for these drivers in the relatively new Radical SR10, so many of the growing pains have no doubt been smoothed out, but with a circuit like Spa, it is sure to test all of them equally regardless.
Yeah, certainly. I look back now at that Road Atlanta meeting we had at the start of the previous season when everyone was very fresh to this new Radical SR10, and it has improved so much across the season. This Spa circuit, whilst it is a tricky one, it's one that the drivers know very well. It's a little bit of an even playing field as well because of the draft effect. And so this is a nice opener to round one. And hopefully plenty of new drivers have tried out the SR10 this season and will pursue it over the course of the next 3 months.
Indeed, as this is, I have to believe, one of the sort of hidden gems here on iRacing, the Radical. Always fantastic to drive, a lot of horsepower, not a whole lot of downforce, a good amount of mechanical grip. It really tests you as a driver as you work your way around the track. Right now, we are in the middle of a qualifying. It's going to be an 8-minute, 2-lap solo qualifying session for these drivers to set the grid for what will be a 10-lap race around this circuit. It's really a testament to just how long it is that it's only going to be 10 laps. But here he is, Florian Steffel, working his way around down through the bus stop chicane, bringing it out onto the start-finish line, and that will be the start of a lap here for the number 18.
Yeah, it is quite a unique qualifying around this circuit, isn't it? Where you got to get out there quick. Even if these fairly quick cars, faster than GT3 cars, are these SR10s, and particularly down the straights compared to their predecessor, the SR8. These cars are properly rapid down the straights, and of course, so will be very quick around this circuit. You got to get out there with about 7 minutes 30 to go, and this is only an 8-minute session, and you do not want to invalidate one of your lap times, otherwise, or you certainly don't want to damage the car, otherwise you're guaranteed to lose a lap early on, and if you make that mistake at the end of your first lap, you may not have time to set a lap at all. So high stakes stuff, easy to pick up a 1x as well. We'll see how the drivers deal with it.
Yeah, that's a very good point here. Very, very easy to pick up those little off tracks, specifically there coming out of Malmedy. Also looking down here at the exit of No Name or Speaker's Corner or Jackie X, whatever you want to call it. That is certainly an area to watch out for. Also run down into Puhal and on the exit of Blanchimont. The majority of the off tracks that you pick up around this track, they're not necessarily for course cutting or corner cutting, but a little bit more for running wide and just getting a little bit too much of that extra runoff.
Yes, yeah, and of course you're going to find time out there. It'll be interesting in the race to see if the drivers can use that tactically. If you have those off tracks available, you'll want to use all of them if you possibly can. And so wait to see the drivers perhaps not use too many of them as the race goes on or in the early stages, and then maybe just track extend at every other corner when it really matters near the end of the race. So that's always an interesting element to see the drivers tackle, as I think we are about to get the first few times in. Might be Nicholas Serini, the first man across the line. I'm seeing him approach tonight. Also Aaron Barber as well, former champion. I think he'll be our first time on the board in this qualifying session.
Yes, indeed, as there comes the number 2, Baba, coming across the line right there, and that is going to be the early mark to beat a 2:11.175, and that's going to be almost a full second ahead of the rest of the field. But just as I say that, Nathan Moore there, the UKNI driver, able to put a time in of a 2:10.9, and that is going to be the mark to beat here early on.
Yeah, it's an impressive lap time. I think Moore won a few races last season, and he is looking very good at the moment. Barber struggling with the SR10 mainly last season, particularly with the tyres. They're very easy to overheat them. Mid-race, it's pretty much impossible. It's sort of something that you have to deal with. I think Barber was sort of struggling with that quite a bit. Didn't necessarily have his outright pace either, but I think we will see him challenge for that position. Seeing if anyone else is out there. Austin Great 2X is crossing the lines where he's the seed number 7 for this event, and so I expect to see him on the front few rows. And there you go, second row of the grid, 4th place for Great Events.
And this is crucial here for a lot of these drivers. We mentioned getting both laps clean and put together here, but I've got to imagine for a lot of these drivers, this first lap, a bit of a banker lap. You want to put down a time here that isn't you pushing 10/10ths. It's just one to get a good one down on the board, to know that you're going to have a somewhat decent qualifying position. And now on this second lap, this is push time. This is where you really see what the car has gotten. As you can see there, Aaron Baba actually setting 2 purple sectors there as he continues to work his way around there. So clearly these drivers doing exactly that, getting the banker down and now pushing like the Dickens.
Yeah, and this is, you always see an improvement. I don't think it's quite as big as the old SR8. I'm not sure if the SR8 was ever upgraded to the new tire model, actually. And so the second lap was always way faster. I don't think it's quite as strong as in the SR10. We certainly did see the effects last time, as, I mean, you pointed it out earlier on. Purple sectors for Barber, he's absolutely fine on. This will surely be provisional pole. The question is, will it be good enough for him to hold on to it? It's only a slightly clear. Let's ride on board with Moore, who approaches the line. It might just be these two going for pole position. Is Moore able to improve enough to take pole? He does. By a 10th of a second, he improved. He's half a tenth clear of the rest of the field. Excellent work there from Nathan Moore as John McCutcheon crossed the line to go up to P3.
Yeah, it's a good lap there for McCutcheon, but about 0.4 of a second off of your leaders there of Moore and Baba. Here is Annie coming across the line. Is that going to be an improvement for the number 19? Doesn't look like it. Hamilton able to jump into 11th, followed by Mahoney. Kim putting in a great time there. The Canadian driver of Tay Kim really rocketing his way up through the field. That's going to be in P5 for them. As we watch the number 23 right now, Morales coming down through this twisting section of the track, down through campus and out through Stavlo right now. You've really got to nail the exit of these 2 corners, as this is pretty much the second longest straightaway here on this Spa-Francorchamps circuit. And the run through Blanchimont, you've got to get that exactly right to maximize your lap time around here.
You can see Arturas Kundalis, who's of course faced many of these broadcasted races before. He is in the chat. Hope you're having a good day, Arturas, as the session comes to an end. Unfortunately, not out there this season is Arturas, but he says that Lucas Vieira is his successor. So, there you go. Any Artes Contos fans, put your hopes and dreams into the Brazilian for this upcoming season, as we will soon be able to go through the grids. And there it is.
Yes, it is. It's going to be Nathan Moore starting off in pole position, followed by Aaron Baba. That's going to be a close fight through the majority of this 10-lap race. Then John McCutcheon and Lucas Vieira, Tay Kim, and Rafael Blanco rounding out row 3. Austin Greatorex will be in P7, followed by Jose De Silva, Marcos Alcaron, and Andreas Friedrich will round out your top 10. Then it's Nicola Serini and Reginald Hamilton down in P12. P13 will be Miguel Moroto Madrid, followed there by Eric Mahoney. Alberto Flor Berlestros will be in P15. Then it's going to be Myron Iani, then Abdul Al-Amri, Florian Steffel, Marco Spiller, Guillaume Marilis, Tony Dibden, followed by Eugene Wilkinson and Andy Bootland, rounding out your 23-car grid here today. And I got to tell you something, my eyes are certainly focused on that front row between Moore and Baba. As we mentioned, only a fraction of a second, half a tenth separating those two. I think that is going to be a battle through all of these 10 laps.
Yeah, I think so. It'll be interesting to see if McCutcheon can keep up with them. Has won many races in the past in this series. McCutcheon, very experienced driver. But yeah, it did seem like Moore and Barber were the top two. Like I was saying earlier on, I think Moore had the edge last season by a decent margin, if I'm honest. But Barber, in his home region, at least, let's see if he can get the first race win of the season.
We will see indeed as cars begin to get their way onto the grid right now. 3 lights, 5 lights up, and there goes the flag. We are racing in Spa. It is a great start there from Nathan Moore. He's going to be able to pull ahead of Baba. Looks like the number 4 there of McCutcheon thought about a little bit of a move down to the inside, but decided to back out of it as they come their way through La Source now to a little bit of 3 wide action, working their way down the hill, but it looks like everybody's through cleanly, and at least the top 6 here are going to be in single file order by the time they get to Eau Rouge.
Yeah, now the proper chase starts to already starts. Top 2 have already started to pull away, but there's a lot of battling going on behind. Drivers getting the toe on one another. We've got 3 wide, in fact. I think that's Kim and Blanco and Greatorex really battling very hard, albeit that 3 wide lasted for a very short period of time. I think that's Kim managing to stay ahead. Top 8 all in the exact same order as they started right now. We've got a good start for Dibden so far. He's up 5 places. That's why, because he missed the corner. He gets back onto circuit and he's not gained 5 places anymore.
No, he certainly has not, and probably a pretty massive slowdown penalty there for them as we focus back in on the front of the field. Nathan Moore still leading over Baba, trying to grow that gap a little bit back to the yellow and black number 4 of John McCutcheon. Vieira, though, closely stalking behind in that Gulf liveried Radical here as they work their way down through Pujon. This is the area of the track where the little bit of downforce that does exist in these cars. Whoa, as we've got a car spinning around in the back, catching the curb wrong
Friedrich.
there. That is Andreas Friedrich.
I think you're right. Just all by himself. Unfortunately, he'll still be in the race. Good avoidance from the other drivers. He's right to the back though. He is in last position after that one. We've got another guy going. Well, I think that was Vieira at that time. Track extending slightly. That might well be an early 1x for the Brazilian driver. But yeah, big shame right there through Puron. So still sorts of in single file. McCutcheon trying to keep the draft to Barber. But you feel like it's a losing cause, and he's going to have to pay his attention to Vieira behind, who is closing. Also got Kim continuing to be under pressure from Blanco, who's had a very aggressive opening lap of this race. And the first one is in the books.
And remember, Blanco, Kim, and Greatorex, those were the 3 that went 3 wide on the exit there of Radion. And it certainly looks here like Rafael Blanco is very much on the attack on Tay Kim, trying to see what can happen. But Kim a little bit later into the braking zone, going down into La Source. That allowed him to catch up to the back of Vieira there, if only for a brief moment. But as you mentioned, this is where some of the craziness starts to come into play. Down the dip on into Eau Rouge, up and over Radion. You can see the breakaway there from the front 2 in the field. Little bit of a wide run there for Tay Kim. Is that going to open them up for an attack here from Blanco? I think he's a little bit too far behind to be able to get that move to work.
Yeah, just being able to get the draft of the car ahead, and I think that's saving a lot of these guys at the moment. We've got Al Amri. That is a move from him. on Mireles right there. Oh, we got an off as well for car number 20. That is Miguel Maroto Madrid, or as I will now call him, Triple M, is off the circuit and down into 16th place, 3 places down from his start. Highest gainers so far are Ian and Bootland. Bootland currently in 18th position. A bit of spread near the back of this field. It is a very competitive field that we have got out here tonight. 3 splits, really good to see. I was a little bit concerned that the SR10 may not get a lot of fans, but I think it's done fairly well since it's come to the sim. And yeah, start of season 2, still got 70 odd drivers signing up for a strength of field race.
Yeah, and so that's a very, very good sign here that iRacing did their homework and created a really, really nice car to be able to drive as we now continue to focus on Nathan Moore leading the way. The gap between himself and Baba right now is about 2.5 tenths of a second. You saw Baba looking a little bit to the inside there, maybe thinking about a move going down through Blanchimont. Perfect angle on the curbs, though, there for Nathan Moore. Diving down onto the binders here for Bus Stop. Doesn't look like anything's going to be really firing off here at this point, although Blanco's sending a move in the back on Kim, and it looks like Kim has had a little bit of a problem. Going to lose 2 places there to Blanco and Greater X.
Yeah, I didn't quite see that one initially. We might get a replay of it in a moment once this all settles down, as they are super tight. And now, once again, the battle starts up the hill. Let's ride on board. How much thoughts are they able to take up the hill? It's a little bit of a lift, isn't it, DJ? But they're not far off flat.
Yeah, not too far off flat, and that is one of the great things about this car as Aaron Baba looking here a little bit on Nathan Moore, but back in the back, here's Tae Kim, thinking about 3 wide, going down into the corner. This is on Greater X, locking up behind was De Silva, and Nay's going to be able to keep that on the track, but not without losing a position to Alcaron. Now De Silva is going to be able to try to see what they can do. Serini also able to pick the pocket there, courtesy of that. That's going to be Serini up 3 positions, but that's really shuffled things around, and that's really one of the characteristics of this Radical SR10. Very, very easy to lock up the brakes in this car. No ABS here, and with the speeds that you're generating, if you have the slightest bit of steering lock into the car, you can rest assured that those front wheels will lock on you.
Yeah, we'll try to get a replay of that De Silva incident right there, because he seemed all out of shape, didn't he?
Yeah, he certainly did.
So he's gone to the inside. Oh, so he's locked the brakes and then just trying to save as much as he can. And there was some contact. Good effort from everyone. I think that was Alcaron, just ahead, who raced a lot last season. Just moving his way past. Alcaron, car number 5, running in P9 where he started. And I might get a replay of the Kim as well, which I think sort of set that all off, because then there was quite a concertina behind.
Yeah, it really was an absolute gaggle there sitting up behind. Looked like there for a second that we had a little bit of a wide run coming through Blanchimont, but here is that incident. That's Greater X there, Kim coming up behind. Oh, Kim just locked it up a little bit, carried a little bit too much speed into the corner, and that lost a position to Blanco and Greater X, and there you can see as they worked their way through, it's just as simple as that. A little bit too much speed carried down to the bus stop, and that's going to be enough to throw it around. We take a look now at the 10th place car of Jose Carlos De Silva here, trying to get a big heaping of the draft as we work on lap 4 in this race. Here's a good little run in the back, though. Eric Mahoney playing to have a big assault here from behind with Madrid. Madrid trying to be able to come up behind, timing that right up through Eau Rouge and Radion. I think a pass is imminent here.
Yeah, it's also imminent further up the road. We don't know which one to watch, as it's 3 wide again. Are we going to see proper 3 wide into Lake Coombe? Oh, that was very messy. 2 cars make contact, and again they make contact, and in the wall goes Serini. Oh, I don't know if Serini did anything wrong right there, but he was destined for the wall. And there goes a good opportunity at the top 10, and that's Madrid as well round in a completely separate incident, or potentially put off by the yellow flags. That is a huge shame for the pair.
Yeah, it certainly is. Could have been a little bit of an incident fixation there for Miguel Madrid as they run. We're going to take a look at the replay here, jumping back here. That's Serini getting going again after having that incident into the wall. And at first glance at that, it's really a shame here for Serini. That's going to be that black and blue car there down to the inside. You can see Tay Kim and Alcaron trying to just make that work. Gets a little bit of a how you doing from behind and just kind of constant contact there through the corner. And that's what can happen if you go 3 wide down into Lecombe.
Oh, that was Madrid. Was that making contact? Was that Puntland? No, it was further up. Al-Amri? Mahoney? Mahoney was involved somehow in that one. We will try to again get a replay of that one. But yeah, that was all very messy right there out on circuits. That was a little bit previous. So they'd been battling for about half a lap, I think, at that point. And that was why Madrid went off the circuits. So top 4 still in the same order, but we've had a fair few changes about now. But the field is starting to spread out slightly. And we haven't got that big pack in there back into the top 10 as we had previously.
No, we don't. And you saw there, that was Andreas Friedrich trying to take a little bit of a look on Miguel Maroto Madrid down into the bus stop. Not really able to get it done nearly as much as he would have liked it to. Now we focus in back on the leaders, though. And I have to wonder here for Baba if he is maybe just kind of biding time here to be able to get that move. You see him not going into the draft. I think he is just waiting for a last lap assault here, as it looks like he has the speed to be able to keep up with more and just not really the impetus at this point to get that move done.
Yeah, and I think, like I was saying earlier on, Barber struggled with the tyres last season, and perhaps he's just trying to wait behind a little bit, make sure he keeps those temperatures low, so that he's not a sitting duck later on in the race. But he's super experienced, is Barber. He knows that around this circuit you don't necessarily need to make the move right now. The slipstream in this car isn't super strong. I think an overtake should be very much possible around this circuit. The turbulent air isn't too bad. I think we've got Ballesteros off the circuit. That's a very tricky place to rejoin. I think that's coming out of No Name. Because that part of the circuit is completely different nowadays. He'd be on the inside of the circuit, basically. He'd be on the new, or on the motorbike tarmac if he spun there nowadays. But Ballesteros is back running, but he is having a tricky day so.
Yeah, and this car can certainly come back to bite you. It's one of the things that makes racing this Radical SR10 so enjoyable. He's now going to find himself in a little bit of a sandwich, as we've got a nice little battle here. Tay Kim, who's seeming to be in the wars all day long. That's Jose Carlos da Silva working behind him in that Audi livery car. Got to be a little bit careful. Took a big chunk of grass there going down into Blanchimont, but here comes the 11. Is he going to be able to send a little bit of a move here going down into the bus stop? He's certainly thinking about it. Here comes the Chuck down to the inside there for Da Silva, side by side, rounding the bus stop, tries to get a little more of a momentum, twitch of oversteer on the exit, and that is going to call it there for Da Silva. Not able to get the move done quite yet.
I was surprised he was even able to get that one stopped, honestly. I thought that was contact guaranteed. He seemed to go in so deep on the brakes, but it was very well mannered between the pair of them. Nice and wide, that final chicane. You can really race side by side there, very possibly. So yeah, really good racing, and I'm sure that one is not over, albeit Da Silva losing quite a bit of time on exits, and Kim with his sights set on Alacon. But of course it was Kim who lost that position to Alacon on that last lap, but now gaining huge amounts of time down the straights. And that's not set up, of course. Big set up in this series, so no differences there, but just demonstrating that the power of the draft. He was able to get that gap down to about half a second at Radion to about 10th into Legume.
Yeah, really powerful draft around here. And both of those two runs from Radion to Lecumbe, as well as from Stavolo down into the bus stop as they go. We focus here on Ballesteros. Ooh, we've got a little bit of a battle starting to shape itself up, though, here. Blanco and Greatorex still at it. Lucas Vieira holding on to that 4th place position in that number 3 Golf liveried machine right now. And this is one of the closer battles here up in the top 5. It really seems like, I have to say, that Blanco and Greatorex, every time we turn our head, it seems like they are right in the thick of a battle.
Yeah, it really does, doesn't it? Yeah, these, they're just so evenly matched, aren't they? And they started alongside each other. 6th and 7th position, they are still next to each other in 5th and 6th. And Vieira, who looked like, in the very early stages, like he could be a rival for McCutcheon, not really panning out that way. McCutcheon now 1.6 seconds up ahead. He was 3/10 faster on that previous lap. And I think the top 3 are fairly secure as long as they all keep their cars going in the right direction. These guys might not be going in the right direction in a little bit because they are super close to one another. There is contact on the first part of the chicane. There's big contact in the second part of the chicane. And Kim, and that was the third bit of contact, Kim and De Silva come together, and it's De Silva who loses out big time, and he's going to have to wait a while to get back on track.
Yeah, and that certainly just looked like a little bit of neither one of them wanting to lift out of it. They are that constant contact in between the two, really sending them both down. And Silva, as you said, coming out the loser. He is going to be able to stay ahead of Bootland there. Looks like Steffels had a little bit of a problem in the back. His next target here for Jose Carlos de Silva will be Morales right up ahead. Let's go back and check out a replay here of exactly all that this bumping and banging was. This looked a little bit more like NASCAR than it did a Radical Racing Challenge race.
Yeah, I'm not sure who squeezed who, honestly. And then De Silva, should he have left more space? Well, in hindsight, he should have definitely done in order to help his race, but maybe it was the other driver's fault. Not quite sure. Sure, they'll have conflicting views on that one. But that one may have been getting a little bit personal as well. They'd been racing against each other for a fair few laps already at that point. And so, yeah, they were not giving each other too much leniency right there. So, and yeah, gonna have a long way to come back now. Now it's, by the way, Dibden, highest gainer of anyone, up 8 places on his starting place.
Yeah, good run there for Dibden to be able to get his way up forward. He's going to be very, very pleased with that, I have to think. Although running in a little bit of an island unto himself right now, he's got about a 3-second gap up ahead of him to Eric Mahoney and about a 2-second gap back to Morales behind him, so not going to be too worried. He's just able to put in some hot laps here. We check back, though, with Reginald Hamilton right now running behind Tay Kim. Kim just seeming to be bleeding positions here at this point in the race. I wonder if he's suffering from a little bit of aero damage courtesy of that contact with De Silva. Going to have to line this up going down through Blanchimont. Ooh, looks like Hamilton lost a little bit of time there. I don't think that's going to play out nearly as well as he would like, and he's not going to have an opportunity to really go for an attack, but he's got to get it together here. Only 3 laps to go.
Yeah, these races do really go on by very quickly. A quick shout out to SDK Gaming, by the way, because they provide our overlay that you see up on screen. It's the best overlay in all of iRacing. It's so easy to use. That's a great direct. Move past Vieira. Vieira's just made a mistake. He's gone from 4th down to 6th. I use SDK to find that replay right now. And yeah, try to share that one for you in just a moment. But yeah, of course, SDK providing our overlay, of course, live timing, a fantastic heads-up display as well for whilst you're racing. So you check out sdk-game.co.uk in order to get yourself a 14-day free trial.
And I have to tell you, I use SDK myself, whether I am with Apex or just racing on my own, and it is the best overlay on iRacing without question. We watch here that replay, though, Rafael Blanco, Greater X coming in behind, and that looking down to the inside there of the number 4, trying to see. That looked as pretty clean as you please.
Yeah, I think I just missed that one. I didn't realize he'd got past on that lap, and then this was the lap after, and it was a mistake then. Running wide, and then, would that have been a slowdown there? It certainly looks like it.
Yeah, it is. If you run a little bit too wide on the exit of La Source, you can pick up a slowdown penalty. For any American viewers, very, very similar to the way that the slowdown penalty exists at the 90 at Watkins Glen. Very similar. All this is obviously being a little bit of a tighter corner as they run. But Greater X here working his way around now. Vieira trying to recover a little bit from what he saw behind him as they go up at the front of the field. Nathan Moore continues to lead. He'll be coming to the line here with 2 laps to go. Baba has been able to keep up the pressure behind, maybe just trying to see if he can force a mistake out of the number 1, but at this point, I think he has got to start thinking about trying to get a move on.
Yeah, this is when we find out whether he's just waiting behind his rival for the entire race, waiting for this late move, or whether genuinely, it's just not very easy to overtake, and he doesn't quite have the pace to do it. That's really close, though. And I think if he has the chance to do it, he'll do it on this lap. You can see he's actually pulling out of the draft, so I imagine he's trying to get a nice run here, not too much of like of turbulent air up the hill, and so you can get a nice amount of momentum and pull out and still have the overspeed halfway down this long Hemel straight. But no, he's still not taking the thrust. He's going to leave it to the last lap of this race, DJ, which, well, I wouldn't have the guts to do, but Aaron's a much better driver.
To agree with you there, he's certainly a much better driver than I am, as my I rating and my performance in the broadcasters race over the past weekend proved to everyone. But we watch here Myron Ianni being able to try to hold off a little bit of a move there on Reginald and Hamilton, looking to fight back a little bit now, going down through Malmedy, but that's not going to work. That's going to be Hamilton able to hold on to that position. That's going to be a P8 for him, and they've got to be a little bit careful. Almery there behind, looking in as well, looking for a little bit of a crossover there was Ianni, but not being able to get it done. The number 19 just having to wait in line right now, trying to find a little bit of an area to overtake.
Yeah, and it's not it's not super obvious where to overtake around this. I mean, I guess the bus stop is a good chance, but you've got to really nail Blanchemont if you're going to be able to pull off that overtake. See if Moore is going to hold on to this one. Maybe Bubble's just waiting for the chicane. As we've got Ianni past Hamilton. Oh, Ianni's got a problem. Let's go replay
and I'm
this
not
one.
sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if that was a little bit of contact or that could have been a similar incident like we saw on the first lap of the race, coming over those curbings on the exit of the corner. But this is actually down into Fagnes. Looks like a slow run there. Tries to carry a little bit more speed. I didn't actually see any real contact there between the two. That looked like an area where he just tried to take a little bit too much speed around the outside, but there could have been a little bit of net code also setting that off.
Moment of truth. Barber has lined this one up perfectly. I think he might still dip out of the draft going into Eau Rouge, just so that he's not too close. There he goes again. Does he even want to leave it till the chicane? Let's see. He's certainly super close. If he wants to go alongside, he can do. And this is what the race is going to come down to.
Yes, it is. That's going to be a defensive line there from Moore. Baba going to try to work it around the outside. They're going to be side by side, diving down into Lecombe right now. Inside line to Moore. Baba trying to work it around the outside, gives him just enough space. And as the track switches back, that will be the number 2 up into P1. Now the question here is going to be if he's going to be able to pull away through the middle sector of this track and prevent that attack that you mentioned about going down into the bus stop.
Yeah, this is when you want to have those off tracks available. You want to track extend every single corner you can. I think you're seeing Moore go very wide right there through No Name corner, trying to carry as much speed as possible. But honestly, Barber, I think, has got the pace, and this is great to see. A guy who was not in top form last season, who struggled a little bit with the car. He is beating Nathan Moore, who's one of the best drivers in this SR10, and Barber is pulling away. And this is great to see the guy back to his absolute best. He is sprinting away 7/10 of a second, 8/10 of a second. He's almost broken the draft already, and it's looking very good for the Benelux driver.
Yeah, looking very good indeed, and I think our predictions of him just biding his time were exactly right, and now it is about 8/10 of a second. Moore's going to try to fight back a little bit here with the draft, going down through Paul Frere and down into Blanchemont, but I don't think it's going to be close enough to really pull anything. Indeed, look at that gap. It's still 6/10 of a second as they dive down to the braking zone here into the bus stop for the final time, and here comes Aaron Baba out of the final corner onto the loud pedal and coming to the start-finish line. That is a victory for Baba here in race 1.
Oh, we got a spin right at the end. Who is that? That's Vieira, who's had another off, and he was battling with Great 2X. I think he was ahead of Great 2X, but they were super close going into the final chicane, and they must have made contact, I can only imagine. Behind that, it's not particularly close. Everyone seems fairly spread out, so let's get a replay of what happened to Vieira on that final lap of the race. Because that was, yeah, quite the finish for the Brazilian driver. Came to a stop with just a corner to go. It was.
And you were right. Greater-X was the car behind, diving into the braking zone here. Little bit of how you doing, little bit of more of how you doing, trying to give each other space, and a big thunk to the back of the car there. That contact with Greater-X, that is not going to be a happy Lucas Vieira behind the wheel of the car, I have to imagine, as he was just positioning his car in a defensive line, and Greater-X sort of clobbered into the back of him.
I usually agree with everything that you say, DJ, but when you said trying to leave each other space, I don't think you've ever been more wrong on something. I don't think there was any respect there from the pair of them. I think they did not care one bit about leaving each other space. All they wanted to do was barge their way past the other. And, yep, in the end, contact was made. So, yeah, dramatic stuff right at the finish. It cost them a little bit. Vieira lost out to Alarcon in the end, but just the one position lost, I think, at the close of that race.
Yes, indeed. And now, as all drivers have come across the line, let's go ahead and bring you that final finishing order here to have them running through. It was Aaron Baba able to take the win on the field here today in that close battle with Nathan Moore. Then McCutcheon, Blanco, Greater-X, Alcaron, Vieira, Hamilton, Kim, and Al Emery rounding out your top 10. And as we look ahead here in the series, next time up, we head to Okoyama, and that's going to be a little bit of a different race. A lot more of manual car control there for these drivers, I have to think, and it's going to be a different beast entirely.
Yeah, I super like Okayama. I think it's a bargain that we get it for free on iRacing. And yeah, very different circuit to this one. Much shorter straights around that track. And yeah, it will be a good one. Another circuit that the drivers know very well as well. But I think overtaking is going to be tricky. I don't think overtaking was super easy around this circuit. I mean, we saw fair amounts of it, but I think when we go to tighter tracks, it will become extremely tricky for the drivers to do it. So that will be a test when it comes to Okayama. But good to see that the drivers have got a few easier circuits. Last season we were visiting like Virginia and stuff within like week 3, and I was like, come on. Do you hate the drivers or something? Because no doubt it's a good circuit, Virginia, but it's a tricky circuit. A couple of circuits start off this season, though, that the drivers will know like the back of their hand. As I will give a quick shout out to Apex Racing Academy, another sponsor for this broadcast, offering data packs for 29 different cars, and those data packs including setups, track guides, and also group coaching and solo coaching sessions as well. Do check out apexracingac.com if you want to get quicker on iRacing. Now, DJ, you are new to this series. Last season, all 12 weeks, we had the same conundrum where no one wants to chat with us. We have scared them away one way or another. And so we will hold on for a fair bit longer. I think we've got a few things to talk about with the series. Hopefully, Aaron Barber should have a chat with us. He's usually up for a chat, even when he doesn't win errands. So we will see on that one. But we will just hold out for a minute or two. But just a reminder to the drivers, as long as you're in top split, come have a chat with us. Finish last, not a problem. We like to hear from you guys, and it's really useful for us as well to learn more about the cars. We have got some interview, DJ. I wonder if you'd like to drag Nathan Moore up.
I would indeed. Nathan Moore led through the majority of the race there. Just got pipped at the line a little bit with that move by Baba. But how would you rate your race overall, my friend?
Yeah, it was a good race. I think. Yeah, as you said, I was just really struggling to hang on at the end. I think my my rear tires were overheated. I think I just couldn't hang on, and yeah, Aaron deserved the win there. I think he played it really smart as well. He was just sitting behind me the whole race, waiting for those last couple laps, and yeah, tried everything I could at the end of Les Combes to outbreak him, but just tires had a different idea. Just couldn't hang on. But yeah, it was. I think both of us showed really strong pace, and yeah, congrats to Aaron. He deserved the win, and yeah, looking forward to the season ahead.
Well, in terms of looking forward to that season ahead, we were talking a little bit about it. We head to Okayama next time out. Some pretty big names here on the schedule, including Le Mans, as well as Fuji, and a couple of little quirky courses as well. Going to Mid-Ohio, going to Okayama, going to Mosport. Anything you're looking forward to? Anything you're a little bit weary of as we go ahead?
I think it's a very good calendar. It's definitely, as you say, it's got a mix of tracks. That shows every driver's different strengths. There's a lot of different ways to race. Like for example, Le Mans, where it's extremely a bit like today. Where you just got to be patient for those last couple laps. To slipstream past your opponent. But yeah, I quite like the quirky tracks like Mid-Ohio, Okayama especially. I think that's next week, I believe. So I'm looking forward to Okayama. It's one of my favorite tracks on the service. It was actually the very first track when I created my iRacing account. It was the very first track I did. So looking forward to that next week. And yeah, I think of course Nordschleife, I believe, is the last week of the season, so that's always going to be a fun one as well. And yeah, I'm sure me and Aaron will go toe to toe all season long, and yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
Well, I know I'm very much looking forward to it, to see the two of you duke it out over the course of this 12-week season. But for week one, a second place, a good way to start. Is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd just like to, thank everyone that's, supported me and stuff in my iRacing journey. I mean, I know these are just the official races, so to speak, but it's nice to be, on the participate in the broadcast. I'd like to thank you guys at Apex Racing TV for showing these races every week. And yeah, just looking forward to having a lot of fun. Hopefully I can bounce back stronger next week.
We wish you all the luck in the world, Nathan, and we'll see you at Okayama.
Thank you.
All right, that was Nathan Moore, your second place finisher. And Sam, I believe you have caught up with our winner, Aaron Baba.
Yes, I have done. As we see his race-winning move up on screen as well. Congratulations, Aaron. It was just nice to see you just comfortable with the car again. I mean, you seem to be the absolute fastest guy out there on circuit. You were run tough by Nathan, but you seem to have got your pace on the SR8 now into this SR.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope I can continue to do that through the whole season. It's really nice to be back, especially after the last season. I did some races, but didn't like the setups very much, but the guys improved them a lot this season. Shout out to them. You know who you are. They put a lot of effort, so the car is much more enjoyable now. And yeah, I'm looking forward to driving it the whole season, actually. I hope me and Nathan and maybe other guys like Gay and Pablo, they will be back, I hope, for some races, so we should have some fun.
Last season, the overwhelming criticism of those setups was how understeery the car was. Has that been dialed out slightly, or have there been other changes to the setup?
The problem for me, it was never the understeer. Yeah, okay, the car understeers, but so does the real car. So all the cars understeer a little bit. So I have no problem with the understeer. I had much more bigger problems with how the car behaved. Like the issue is, I really like to push the car to the limit. And with the past season setups, if you did that around like the last 2-3 laps, the car just has at a massive drop off in tire degradation. So it was really unpredictable, and it felt like, do you want to drive this? There are much better things to do with your time than drive a broken car. So, but they fixed it now. The guys did their best with the setups. I'm really happy. I tested some of them, and I really hope this car deserves the participation gets better and better, because the car is really fun to drive now.
Awesome. Well, yeah, really good to hear that they've made those few tweaks to the car, which should make it a lot more enjoyable. Next up, we head to Okayama. I can recall McCutcheon winning a race at Okayama in the SR8. I can't recall if you ever won a strength of field race at Okayama in the Radical. Do you like that circuit much?
Yeah, I love Yokohama. I won actually the last races we did with the SR8. I won one of them and or maybe two. I don't remember, but I really like the track. I really like the schedule also. Some big names on the track. With starting with Spa, one of my favorite home tracks. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I like all the tracks actually.
Awesome. And for any kind of viewers listening along who are thinking about taking up the SR10, is there anything that you'd say to, convince them to join these races?
Yeah, guys, really give it a try. I highly recommend the new setups. They're really good. So they do justice to the car, and yeah, I hope to see everyone on track. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, and hopefully we see you plenty more for the rest of the season. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
You guys and all the guys to the Radical community and everyone watching. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks for having a chat with us, and see you back in a week's time.
Yeah, guys, good to be back. Bye.
That was Aaron Barber there, your race winner for this opening round of the championship, DJ, and yeah, good to hear those kind of comments about the car. I was saying earlier on about how Aaron was sort of struggling with the tyres last season, and so it sort of makes sense that he's had this jump in performance now that he's able to properly push the car without too much of a concern that it's going to give up.
Yeah, it certainly does. And now the question's going to be, as we heard Nathan Moore talking a little bit about those tire concerns, and so we'll have to see how that will play itself out over the course of the season between those two, as we certainly do look like we at least have a two-way slugfest for the championship going forward. But in the meantime, that is going to wrap us up for our coverage here today for the Radical Racing Challenge. On behalf of myself, DJ Clark, as well as Sam Fitzpatrick, it has been a pleasure to bring you the action here today. We will be back for that race same time next week at Okayama, and until we see you on the track, thanks for watching.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.